What's good, people? Welcome back to the channel. KG is back. It is time for a brand new video talking transfers. This will be the left back edition today, but we're going to sprinkle striker talk in there because we've been linked with a striker who's currently playing in the Premier League. I'm going to give my thoughts on that one in just a moment. But before I do, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Of course, drop your thoughts and comments below. Thank you to Dave for the super thanks on the last video. And I will have to say on every video, because I think obviously some people didn't hear at the start of the video yesterday, I'm not going to be naming every single position on every single video. There's going to be like maybe 3 players per video. So obviously some positions will be left out. Now, if you're going to say, I would like to speak about attacking midfielders, I want to speak about strikers, then cool. But if you're saying, but we need a left back, what about a left back? Guys, you're not listening. You're not listening then. So, but this will be left back focused today, as this was already the plan. But I'm also going to speak about a striker who I thought might have been attainable possibly, but I think he's kind of ruled himself out of any kind of move to where we are in the Premier League. So listen, let's get into this one straight away, because I saw this one yesterday and I thought, let me read it first. Rob Dorset of Sky Sports, exclusive, he says. Leeds United interested in Everton striker Beto. I'm told Leeds have a transfer kitty of 100+ million and is their ambition to stay in the Premier League. Well, duh. Unclear if Everton would allow their joint leading scorer of 7 goals to leave, but huge reorganisation for Moyes this summer with 15 out of contract. First of all, how does Rob Dorset know about how much is in the kitty? Nobody knows that, okay? Nobody knows that. Leeds United, even when given information to agents, wouldn't even give out that kind of information unless they're telling the agent of their price point for a player. Every club does that, by the way. But no one's going to come out from Leeds United and say, we have over 100 million to spend, because then you're just showing your hand, aren't you? Or showing what you don't have. So, this is just, for me on this one, it feels like pure speculation. I'd be very worried if this was true, though. And we got to go from that point of this rumor. I got to speak about if it was true. I want no parts of Beto. No parts of Beto. He says 7 goals in the Premier League, and he's absolutely true. But this was... And listen, you got to score your goals at any time. Every goal counts. I got it. But this was when he was going through an absolute hot patch where he scored 4 goals in 3 games. Before this patch, though, his last goal was in October. And then his most recent goal after this patch was against relegated Ipswich. Okay. I just got to say that nothing about Beto is desirable to me. He's a big guy, and listen, if Leeds United are going to need a big guy, that's fine. We do need that kind of forward, but you can go out in Europe and go and get someone for way cheaper who can possibly be better. Beto has got a horrendous touch as well. He can't trap a ball. Like it will bounce off him. It's like the old Luciano Becchio effect. People used to remember Becchio in the Championship, beautiful goal scorer. If he's in the box, I trust him to score. But his first touch was horrendous. Beto is on that kind of line where if he gets the ball, he'll probably bounce back to the halfway line. He'll be frustrating as well. His finishing is not good. And we've got to be effective with pretty much not every chance, but a lot of chances we get where we will be in the table. And also to the point as well, if we hand Everton anywhere over £20 million for this player, we're strengthening one of our bottom of the league rivals in order for them to probably get someone even better than Beto while we're going to be stuck with him. Everything about this deal is a no to me. And I just hope it is just speculation, rumors. So, and we don't have to revisit this again. Obviously, if anything does go forward, if things advance, we'll speak about it again. But for me, straight off the bat, Beto is an absolute no. You can go out in Europe, go get better for cheaper and with a much higher ceiling of success for that striker than Beto. But listen, this is from me who's watched him play. If you haven't seen him play, well, if you've seen him play, let me know your thoughts. That's what I'm saying here. Somebody else who's a striker who I thought could have been an option, who's available on a free, is Jonathan David. And I know a few of you have mentioned him, which is why I'm bringing him up now. It's going to be highly unlikely that Jonathan David would sign for Leeds United, just purely on the quotes that he's given recently, that he will leave Lille. He's leaving France altogether. He says the Premier League is an attractive place. It's very physical, very, very fast, but his preference is La Liga. So if Jonathan Davids, if he's going to go by his own wants and ambitions, he'll be in La Liga. And if it's not La Liga, if it's Premier League, it's going to probably be the high end Premier League teams who can pay him a whole bunch of money and offer him European football. I do not see Jonathan David starting up at Leeds United. I thought it could have been a slight possibility. And I always say to you, don't I, if you can, convince a player to sign for you, then you do everything. But you just also have to be realistic as well and think, this guy sounds like he wants to go to a Champions League club in La Liga. And if that's not going to be possible for him, he'll probably go to a Premier League club fighting for Champions League spots. So for now, people, I'm going to take Jonathan David off the table for Leeds. But if Leeds United could ever get in that conversation, awesome. Okay. He's going to be free, not free, signing on fees and everything else like that, but no transfer fee. It would be perfect. But I think it's going to be out of reach for us on our first year back in the Premier League. So going on to left backs, which is obviously a need that we're going to have, a position we have to overhaul completely for me. If we take any of the left backs that we've got currently, we'll be in trouble, in my opinion. So this is one where we will need two. And this is if Firpo leaves. I mean, even if Firpo doesn't leave. But listen, I've got three names here in terms, and two of them are pretty similar, but this is going to be the premium one. Maxim De Cuyper, Belgian international, currently at Club Brugge, 24 years old. He's going to be the premium pick here. He's going to be the one that will probably cost you a bit of money. Just when I was getting his name out, I saw recently there's Liverpool linked with him, but Liverpool also linked with Ait Nouri and Milo Kirkes. So I think it's just a case of he's being linked, Liverpool being linked with any talented left back to replace Andy Robertson. But Maxim De Cuyper, this is one where if you can get him and it's a reasonable price, you absolutely go all in. He's a complete left back, strong defensively, going forward. He's good for a goal, great for crosses, assists. He is your ultimate left back in modern day football. Gets up and down, no problem. Establish himself as an international, and his stock is rising. So this is one again where if those big clubs and those clubs around Europe don't go in and get him, go in for him, man. Be that club that gets him for what? I don't know. It will be less than 20, but it will be around that mark. But then if he's the success that I think he would be, you're probably going to get double that. You're looking at like a Kirkes situation, who I did mention a couple of years ago, but we were in the Premier League. But yeah, it's one of those where you go for this kind of player, and if other teams stall, move him for him, sell him the project of Leeds United. It's Premier League, going from Belgian League to the Premier League. And I believe he will transition well. Oh, that's another thing. And I don't want to highlight every negative comment, but it's not a negative comment to me. But someone was talking about the Croatian league yesterday, guys. You know who started in the Croatian league? Viduka started there. Modric started there. Belgian league, Kevin De Bruyne started there. All these players that you see in the Premier League started somewhere. All right. Sometimes the leagues are poor, but there are sometimes standout players who you can just see are a cut above. I think of, Scotland, with no disrespect to the Scottish people that watch, but, some of those players you can see are just good for the Scottish league, but others you can see can translate to other leagues. And Henrik Larsson, old example, but him being one, you could see, yeah, he's scoring goals for fun for Celtic, but he looks like he's got something about him, and that showed through his career. So it doesn't matter what league they come from. It's about their talent level. That's the most important thing. And that's where Maxim De Cuyper comes in for me. Again, talking about a league here. Swiss League, young boys left back, Jaouen Hadjam, 22 years old. This is going to be more of your cheaper option. I don't think he would cost a lot, but the rewards could be high. This is one where you get him for cheap. He could outperform his price tag quite easily, but he gives you defensive solidity, and that's what we're going to need. He's not so good going forward, so there's stuff to work on there, but defensively, he's a dog. And when you're talking about blocks, when you talk about tackles, when you talk about recoveries, this is your guy. Very quick as well. And I think that it would be a cheap deal for Leeds United to do. And if he's not your first choice, he could be your second. And that's what you need. You're going to need options. You're going to need strong options throughout the team. And that's what it is for me. And we'll be going, like I say, in future videos, I will be talking about players that were possible loans and everything else like that. So stay tuned for that as well. But this one, I think, would be a very cheap deal to do. 22 years old, and there's a very high ceiling for this player. And the last one, it's an old channel favorite, and I will mention him again. Josh Doig, who's also 22. It feels like he should be about 25 for the amount of times I've spoken about him. Just been promoted from Serie B to Serie A. The only thing with Josh Doig at this point, and there's no proof to this. I just feel like he might be settled out in Italy. I don't know, but if you can get him, much similar to Hadjam, he's very, very good defensively, gets up and down, no problem. He's more, for me, I liken him to a steady Eddie, like a Matt Target, that kind of defender, but he won't cost so much and his wages won't be that high. So if you're talking about just someone that can give you a standard, solid performance, it's Josh Doig. You know what I mean? And it hasn't changed for me, seeing him, scout reports, seeing the highlights of him this season. He still looks the same player as before, just a little bit more solid as well. So, and there's that improvement to come as well. He's still only 22, so he's still in his development years as a left back. And I still think that he's got Premier League characteristics. I think he'd fit in seamlessly, and I don't think it'd be an expensive deal to do either. The most expensive one out of the three is Maxim De Cuyper. But listen, people, we need left backs. It's important to overhaul that position. For me, get two of the three. That would be the most ideal thing. So people, until the next video, I will see you then. Like the video before you go. It really does help me in the algorithm and everything else on YouTube. So help me out there. And guys, see you in the